Hey everybody, and welcome to the Conscious Cowboys. You've got Tess and Madison, and we've got a fun little episode for you today. We are going through some questions that are honestly like pretty deep and thought-provoking.
Yes.
And that's a little intimidating for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I love going deeper, but sometimes I'm like, fuck, I really want to be able to answer that in an articulate way that really captures how I'm thinking and feeling about it. But sometimes I feel like I just don't get there. So we'll see if I can do it today.
I'm sure you will. I sometimes feel like that if I can journal so well, like how I write is so incredible. And then sometimes when I speak, it just does not translate. Yeah. So I understand that.
Okay. Thank you.
But you do a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you as the listener, because these questions that we have here, I feel like are a really good journal prompt. So if you're someone who wants to take a moment and do some self-reflection, this could be a really good opportunity for you to do so.
Absolutely.
And then they're like kind of fun questions that I don't necessarily think about on my own. So if you're in the mood, pause now. We listed all the questions in the show notes so you can go and answer them yourself. And then you can come back and listen to our responses to them. Because I feel like sometimes, even if I'm just like talking with you and you answer first, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think of that. And then that kind of influences me.
Yeah.
Not in like, oh, I don't have my own original thoughts, but you know.
Yeah, but then you're like, oh, I agree with that. Like, how do I follow that up?
Yeah, right. So if you want to be like completely untouched with this, go answer first, come back. If not, just buckle up.
Enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Have fun
Let's see
listening.
Where we go. Quick disclaimer before we get into this for ourselves and for you. Go ahead.
Oh, well, we just wanted to say that the answers that we have right now, so that we take the pressure off of ourselves, is that these answers could change literally tomorrow or in a year from now, whatever the timeline is. So we just want to take the pressure off of ourselves that we're answering the best that we can in this moment.
Yeah.
As Tess and Madison at 2:09 on a Monday.
In December.
Yeah.
In 2022.
December 12th to be exact.
Is it the 12th?
It is.
Time flies when you're having fun, kids.
Oh, fuck does it.
Shit. They say like time gets faster as you get older. And I was like, oh, that's such an old person thing to say. And they were right.
Yeah, truly
they were right. Also, how do I save this really quick? I don't want this to go away.
I don't think it will go away if you exit.
I'm nervous.
No, I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
Just don't lock it, you know?
I'll try not to. So if you see me on my phone, if you're watching, we have the questions here. All right. I'm going to ask that. Do you want to trade off or do you want me to just ask?
I don't care.
Okay. Well, the first question on the list is, do you think about your past or future more?
Well, let's switch off.
Okay.
So then I can ask you.
Okay.
The next one.
Go ahead.
Okay. So Tess and I were actually talking about this the other day. And I don't know how I brought it up, but I was telling you that I think about my future more than my past.
Yeah. Which is fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really go over old scenarios in my head ever. Like even things, I mean, sometimes, not ever. It's like, you know, not that black and white, but I don't really think about things that I have done too much.
That's awesome, right? Because sometimes I think about shit in the past and I'm like, woo, not worth it, because you can't change it, you know?
Yeah.
And so why live there? And not that I do, but you know, sometimes something will provoke a thought and I go back and then I'll try to reanalyze. I'm like, why? What is even the fucking point?
Right.
Like you can't even go back to that moment.
Yeah. I think that if I ever do that, sometimes it has me feeling like not great about myself, you know?
Right.
Because you can't revise it like you said. So I think that that's why I don't do it. But I do think about my future
a lot
too. It's like negatively sometimes. Not even like I think it's going to be a horrible outcome, but I just think about it too much where it's like I can't control that either. So why am I?
Yeah. I mean, a wise person would say just live in the present, right? But that's easier said than done. But I also think that a lot of why we live in the future or think so much about the future is because we are, I don't want to say like dreaming about our life, but we talk about our future a lot and like the things that we want for ourselves. And so I think that it's really natural, especially between you and I, because we have like these big goals and we're like talking about it and getting really excited about what's to come. And who knows if those things will even happen, but I feel like we're working really hard towards it. And so maybe that's why I recently have been living more in that future mindset.
Yeah, I get that.
But still really trying to enjoy the here and the now, obviously.
I know.
But to answer this question, you know, obviously it's more future than past for us.
Yeah. Yeah, I read something and I really wish that I could reread it right now, but it's just I can't,
of course,
because my phone's over there. But it was just talking about, this reminded me of this, is that like I think about my future self a lot and what I'll be like or what I'll be doing, and it's like reminding you to take care of like yourself now. And I think that's like very obvious, but we don't do that. I know I mean I do take care of myself, but sometimes I just like am fantasizing about like future me so much, and I'm like, dude, me, like I am how I'm gonna get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's like
true.
to remind myself, I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah. We laugh a lot over, we like say thank you to our past selves. We're like, yeah, past Tess, you really thought about this one. Like when we set ourselves up for something good, we're like, look at you go. You really thought that one through.
Yeah, that's really cute.
Okay. Go ahead. Take me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't want to do that one though.
Well,
we'll just not do it right now. Maybe at the end if we feel like it.
Sure.
Do you feel like you have a purpose? If so, what is it?
Okay. My initial reaction is just what I'm going to go with here. I'm not going to overthink it. But I feel most like myself and most fulfilled when I'm connecting with people. And right now, the expression is coming through is like movement and podcasting. Like that's what we do for work, and that's what we do in our free time is we teach movement to people, which helps them connect to us and feel really good about themselves and just kind of connect to a bigger picture. And then with this podcast, I feel like this really gives us a chance to like really bridge the gap between us and so many people. The amount of people who feel like they can relate to us, at least the ones who share that with us, like that is so fucking cool to me. And that is when I feel most fulfilled. So I feel like if I were to have a purpose in a broad stroke, it's connecting with people.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one.
Thanks.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And I would also say, because I try to think of like what I am most obsessed with and how that can better humanity.
Like how you can contribute.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, and then I always think like, am I conditioned to think that my purpose is to help people? Because if it wasn't, I would feel like what are you here for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, shit.
Disregarding that, I would say I'm very obsessed, honestly, for lack of a better word, with like self-improvement and being the best that I can be. And I feel like that will and has helped the collective of like not only like who I surround myself with, but like I put my best foot forward and hopefully that inspires others to do the same. Well, versus me actually like saying it and like preaching it to people. I just like am, and hopefully that's enough.
I can vouch for that tenfold. Seriously, the amount of people who've come to me and been like, oh, you know, Madison was sharing that she does this, and I don't know, I was really inspired by it. So now like I'm giving it a whirl.
Yeah, I'm like, hell
that's
yeah.
sick, you know? And it's not because you're out there trying to change people. It's just like, this is what works for me and this is what feels good and this is what I'm doing. And if you want to try it, that's cool too.
Yeah. I think that also one that we both have is like, we say this a lot, but just like showing up as authentically as we can, like in every situation.
Yeah.
And I think that like passing that on to people is really great.
Yeah. I was going to elaborate, but you said it so well. Like, I don't even need to. That's awesome. Yeah. There's so many times. Well, now here I am elaborating. But there's so many times where I'm like, nope, just be you. Like, there's no need to act a certain, like, just be you. However you are in this moment. And, like, that's not only good enough, but that's perfect. Good.
Yeah, totally.
Hell yeah. All right. Sorry. This phone passing back and forth. I wish we had like a fucking cue card back there. We have a director
who's
need to
like hire someone to like stand.
Okay, here we go. Diving deep. What did you need to hear as a child?
I just start crying.
So glad you asked.
Okay, so this shows up. So when we were talking about this question, I was saying that it helped me because when I was a kid, I feel like I couldn't comprehend like emotionally how I was feeling. So as an adult, I've been able to like look back a little bit and be like, okay, like I still need to hear what I'm about to say right now. And it's two-parted, but it's kind of one and the same, is that I am enough like as I am, and I don't need to prove myself to anyone. So that's like a constant theme in my life, I feel.
Oy. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel that so deeply.
Yeah.
And I don't think that, I don't know. Because I think that this question can kind of pose as like, oh, well, you know, your parents didn't tell you that, or like this is their lack. But that's not where this is coming from, you know? This is just a lot of things accumulated. I agree with that like I'm enough and I don't have to go above and beyond that, you know? And you don't need to prove yourself, which is fucking so true.
Yeah.
Because you don't. You just have to be you and live your life and enjoy it, I think. My answer to this would be that I don't have to, I don't know how to word this, but it's like I don't have to be the problem solver. You know? Like, I don't have to be the one with the answers.
Yeah.
But I take a lot of pride in being the problem solver and being the helper. Like, I think that's a lot of my personality is like I'm quick to jump in and help. And so I think that it's like, you know, it's definitely a huge part of who I am. But I think that's because of like the experiences I've had in my life. But like I wish that like someone be like, it's okay if you're not like the one. Like, it's okay if you're not the one who like figures this out. Like, someone else will also maybe have some answers.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'll do it.
You would say something like that. Yeah. Like, no, I will do this. We're like, okay.
You knew that was coming from me. You're like, she's going to talk
like
about how she's helping.
Or something. Yeah. Well, because I was like, that's like a very, like, that's like a constant.
Right.
But it's interesting. Like, when I think about that question too, I'm like, if someone were to tell me that right now, like if you told me like you don't need to prove yourself to anyone, like you're enough, like I hear you say that and I'm like, I really value and respect your opinion and I believe it, but like I also am like, no, but I still need to,
of course,
like it's like a thing that like you have to decide yourself, because even if my fucking mom and dad both told me that and they like were so sincere, I'd have been like, fuck you, like, yeah, but what do you know?
Yeah, and I still need to figure everything out because no one's gonna fucking do it for me.
I need to be the best. Are you kidding? I need to show everyone that I'm perfect. Fucked up.
Oh, fuck.
But it is, I'm grateful for that, you know, that awareness.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. That wasn't so bad. See, guys, we're doing great.
We deflect through humor.
See, we're laughing.
Fun.
Having so much fun.
No, this is great.
No, I am.
Okay. So we thought this question was cool. Is when you look in a mirror, do you see yourself or your reflection? Do you make the distinction between those things?
I think it depends on the day.
I would agree with that.
And my mood.
Which is fleeting sometimes.
Yeah. I will go a little deeper here in saying that if you're a new listener, or maybe if you like didn't really pay attention during COVID and stuff, I was battling, and I still kind of battle this crazy skin condition. It's called perioral dermatitis. It's basically like I get like this rashy thing around my mouth. And it was so intense for like a year. Like, it seriously, if you ever struggled with your skin, you know, like it's really debilitating. It completely takes a blow to your ego and your mental health. And during that time, the mirror and I would look in it multiple times a day because I just was like, oh my gosh, my skin's burning. I need to go see, like, is it blistering? Like, what's happening? That's graphic, sorry. But what I'm getting at is that I really had to not look at my reflection and base my value or my worth on what I saw. Sometimes I would look in the mirror and just be like, you're still in there. It's still you, kid. Like, there is, just because you got a little rash on your face doesn't mean anything, and it's going to go away and you're going to be fine. Everything's going to work out. But in those moments, like, you really have to go deeper and you have to be like, fuck, all right, that's still you. Like, just because you have this doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
And I've tried as hard as possible to keep that with me as my skin has started to heal, because when you, and this is again, just like very surface level, but like when your skin starts to slip back up, you can really like hone in on it and feel really bad about yourself and be like, oh, look, there it is again. Like, I'm not healed yet. I'm not normal. Like, I look fucking ugly, you know, I'm just being dramatic, but it's something that I've definitely like had to work through. So some days I see just my reflection, like what you all see. And some days I feel like I can look deeper and be like, there she is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I feel like, first off, this is like so cheesy. I'm like laughing thinking about it, but I'm like, literally, if I could find a less lame word than this, but like kudos
Thanks.
To,
I
like,
said
she,
kudos
like,
this morning.
Did you?
Stop.
No,
I
but,
get
like,
really
kudos to,
teary-eyed.
like, finding
It's
that
bad.
like inner.
I'm like, now I'm crying.
No, but like the inner strength to like look at yourself despite that happening, because like even though people are like, oh, that's so surface level, like what you have, like,
dude,
you know, a few things, and like I can vouch that it was like so intense, and I think anyone would have like psychological distress like having that on their skin. Yeah. And I think like your strength through it is very admirable. There you go. That's better.
Thanks.
Kudos.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I used kudos this morning, and then I said to the class, I was like, do you guys remember kudos bars? Do you remember those?
I feel like I do.
They were like little snack bars.
I don't think I've tried.
They had like a chocolate drizzle, and they were like an oatmeal-y, like kind of trail mixy bar. And they had a chocolate drizzle on top, and I was obsessed.
Yeah, that's like the original Go Macro bar.
Yeah, totally.
Oh, fuck.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. How would you answer this one?
Well, I would say that I also went through times in my past where I didn't look in the mirror because I feel like I was engaging in behaviors that I didn't think were me, you know? So then I'd look in the mirror and be like, I literally like would disassociate from it, you know? Like I'm just like, this is my appearance and this is what I get. So, you know, whatever. And I would act like separately from it, if that makes sense. But now I like feel like I do use it as like an exercise, especially when I'm journaling, and I'm lucky that like in my room I have like
a floor length mirror.
Yeah, and they're like on my closet door, so I can like stretch and journal in front of it. And I feel like when I journal, I like look in my eyes, and like I'm not like, I try to do that so that I'm not like ashamed of what I see ever.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Fucking hell, that's deep, yeah?
Yeah. But just like look, like, you know, so then it's like I can like read what I wrote and then like look at myself and being like, this is like what I need to hear, you know? Like you are saying this to yourself and like this is all true.
Dude, kudos. Yeah. Taking ownership of your shit. I love it. Right. Good job, man.
Yeah, I feel like I am very not like attached to my reflection and like I'm going to be sad if it changes, which like sometimes, yeah, I am sad when it changes from things that I usually like. But yeah, I definitely feel like who I think I am is like what I see.
Yeah, I would agree. You've done a lot of work to get to that place, you know, so you got to give yourself some credit there.
Totally.
Okay, this one's always fun. This will send you into an existential crisis. What do you think is waiting for you after death, if anything? Does the idea of dying upset you? Why? And can you imagine nothingness? That's like a fucking 4-parter. So let's just go back to the first. Okay. What do you think is waiting for you after death, if anything?
Wait, so sorry. I was just like thinking, I was like, wait, so did I answer and then I answer again? You know?
Yes, please.
Oh, so I'm a double answer.
You're a double answer.
Okay. So what was the question? Do I believe in death or life after death?
Do you believe that it exists?
Do I believe that death is real? I'm immortal. What do you
so she's like,
I'm actually a vampire.
I'm 182 right now.
Exactly. How do you think my answers are so profound? No,
what do you think is waiting for you after death, if anything?
Oh, okay. So we talk about this often, I feel, because we believe, right, in like souls.
Yes.
And I just imagine that, I don't know if I imagine like necessarily a place, but just like, or we're not even like in our human form anymore, but we're just like up there. And like maybe I'm just like a ball of energy, but I like recognize that like you're my like part of my soul, you know? Like you're like my soul friend. Yes. Like I wouldn't be like, oh, that's Tess, because we probably have different names up there.
Right, but it's just like,
but it's just like, oh yeah, like we're all hanging out and like my dad and mom are there, you know? Yeah.
That I think maybe that also for me, the visual aspect of it is rooted in Journey of Souls. So we did a whole episode on that book with our friend Skylar. And maybe that's because that's like kind of how they describe it.
Yeah.
So I would agree. So we can answer this one together. Yeah, I think something like that is there. And then does the idea of dying upset you? If so, why?
It honestly does not upset me. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it does not upset me at all. I mean, I would be sad to like die tomorrow, but then also I probably can't control that. So, and I know, and I believe that I'll see all my people again, wherever that space is. So.
Yeah. Agreed. with all of that, it doesn't upset me because of that, you know? And whether or not that's true, that any of that's going to happen, it doesn't hurt me to have that, let's say, faith or that hope, because then that keeps me not sad, and it's inevitable, right? So like, why get upset about it? Like, it's something that we all have to do, sadly.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm more so sad that like the people around me will die. Like if they die before me,
absolutely.
I think like that's more sad than like me actually dying.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's going to really suck. But we'll handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just laughing through the pain, you know? She's like, that's going to suck.
Yeah, like
yeah, absolutely. It does suck.
No, I
when you lose people that you love, it's like the craziest. You can't even, there is no way really to describe it. I'm sure a lot of more profound people have described it well, but there is a shortage of words for me. I'm like, nothing even kind of compares to this.
No, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
And then I just think like, we're all like, if souls are real, which we believe that they are, but we like came into this body and we like wanted to experience those intense feelings.
Yeah.
So then I'm just like, it's going to be interesting. Like when I do experience that,
yeah.
Like, how am I going to handle it?
Last part of this is, can you imagine nothingness?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I still go back to like floating, like a floating feeling, and it's dark.
I can say yes, because I picture it in terms of nothingness. I picture it like when you get put under, if you've ever been out for surgery, it's like you're there and then you're not. And there is no, and then you wake up and you're in your body again, but there is nothing. Like it just was like a lapse in time.
Like there's
almost.
no like feeling of anything.
No.
That's so interesting.
But someone in my family had a very, very, very near-death experience that I'm not going to get into without her permission. But essentially, she had like this lapse in time situation where like there was more that she experienced.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think it's going to be like going under based on what she shared with me. We don't know until we get there, right, folks?
That's
so
correct.
No one come at us for anything.
No.
I had a great debate with some guy when I went and visited Amanda. We were sitting at a dinner table and we were talking about just like this kind of whole concept. And he was very rooted in science. And I was like, science, yeah? Like, how is all of this is metaphysics? Like, how is this not science? You know, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then also, which we say this, is that we're all allowed to have different opinions, and you know, that's okay.
Yeah, of course. I didn't get mad at him. I was just like, you want to talk about science?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Back at you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What memories would you describe as your core ones?
Okay. I don't necessarily, I mean, I could probably sit here and go on for like a few hours about some core memories I have, but just to like keep it easy and light, I feel like it's not, I mean, there's obviously a few really deep and ingrained memories in me that I'm definitely not sharing on the podcast. Sorry. I just like, there's a lot of people involved and it's not necessarily like a positive thing. So we're not going to go there, but core memories for me is kind of like stuff that we did as a family mostly, or with my like close group of friends that I grew up with. Like there are things that we did regularly where I'm like, okay, yeah, like I remember dirt bike riding every single weekend during like the fall and winter and spring. And then I remember going boating, not every weekend, but pretty fucking close to it every weekend with my family. Like we did so much as a family together, and that's really like, those are such happy memories for me. So I hold on to those. Or like my big group sleepovers with all my girlfriends. Cause there was, as I've mentioned before on the pod, we had like 8 of us.
Yeah.
And we would sleep over together at least every weekend, if not both nights, Friday, Saturday. We spent, it was like, okay, girls, you know, get it together. Like we were inseparable.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that we did together are core memories for me, but I won't go into detail about those. But please go into detail if you have some.
Well, no, I'm like, because I was saying to Tess before recording that I have a lot of core memories. Also, I would say like dirt bike riding and boating, like yes, but one that's like very strong, and I think it's because I've talked about it like in prior therapy sessions that I have, and this is like not a lighthearted core memory, but I'm not like sad about it anymore, or at least I don't think I am, is like when I'm like, do I want to like go into detail? It was just like a very traumatic event for me when I was a kid, of like my parents, sort of like my mom threatening like divorce with my family. And I feel like I try to be like the adult that I needed in that situation, because adults that were around me were not showing up for me because they were, of course, like too busy in their own shit, which is like rightfully so, is fucking intense. But I feel like I like really try to model like myself now after like, okay, how could I have like helped like mini Madison, you know, in that. So I like take that core memory with me, and like I am who I am for it. So I feel like that's number one. But yeah.
Remember the second question we answered? That I don't need to have all the answers. I don't need to have it all figured out. Same, you know, not those details, but it's like kind of generally the same-ish thing. Sense. I'm like, just, you know, I don't need to be the one to have it all figured out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's interesting. I also think that like having divorced parents and like having to go through that is like a fucking crazy thing. And I think like all of us who have divorced parents can agree on that.
Yeah, it like, shakes your entire foundation.
It really does, because you had beliefs before that event, and then you're like, oh, fuck, things can be really different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we need to like move forward with that information, but not be like closed off to the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do think that there are ways for people, like, I don't know, to play devil's advocate here, like to kind of go in that direction. I think that there are ways to like get out of a marriage and co-parent very healthily, right? Like it doesn't have to be like this big traumatic event for everybody involved.
Yeah, true.
But I think that a lot of times when you're deciding to get divorced, it's because it's rooted in something way deeper than that.
Right.
And it's just messy, and it is what it is. And I don't think it's anybody's fault for handling things the way that they do. But I just think things get lost in translation and shit goes crazy. And you're like, well, that fucking all happened, didn't it?
Yeah,
you know? Exactly. And you're just like, well,
I'm just like, that all happened. And your kids were watching it. Yep. Totally. That won't mess them up though. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry. Dude.
Do you see how you have to laugh through it? You know, guys?
I honestly do. I'm just like, yeah, I totally don't think about that ever. But yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
And what I'll say really quick on that is just it's a lot more common now. Sadly, I'm really sad for us who have divorced parents, but when I was going through it, I went through it at a very young age compared to like you, who went through it in later high school.
Yeah, like 15, 16.
I was in 4th grade when my parents separated, and no one really at that time. I mean, of course I had friends, you know, I had friends who had separated parents, but I was like one of 2 people.
Oh God.
You know, so like I would go to people's homes and like everybody was fucking happy and it was all great. And I'm like, what? Like I got the short end of the stick on this? Like, are you kidding? You know, and no one could relate to me. And now, again, I'm saying sadly, a lot of people can relate to me on this. So
yeah, it is really gnarly, because I feel for you on that. That is so sad. Like how isolating. At least you had your brother, you know?
Yeah, but I also think that there was something there where like when you're young, you know, but like it's not too big of a deal because you're like, oh no, whatever. I'm like 9,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
So it was a big deal for me. Obviously, I wish it didn't happen, but as an adult, I understand it. And I think that if it were happening to me as an adult, I would be way too involved in it. You know, like I would know too much. Like
totally.
Like I think maybe it fucks you up a little bit less when it happens younger because you're like, well, I'm just a kid. You know?
I think that.
But who knows?
Yeah, and we can like stop talking about it after this, but for me, we do like a whole episode on divorce.
Children of divorce, everybody.
Shit. But I would say for me it was like really stressful because I thought that like my parents, like most of my friends' parents were divorced, you know? So I was like,
You're like, look at me.
Yeah, exactly. I like one upped everyone. I'm like, dude, my parents have been married for like 26 years almost, like fucking fairy tale. They love each other. And to have that just like completely crushed. And you're like, so everything I thought was not true. Oh, fuck. You know? And then that was confirmed in. I was like, okay. So yeah, it's just gnarly. But it's okay. I was mad for a while and now I'm fine. But shit was gnarly.
Isn't it fun talking about core memories?
No, I like it. This
Me
is like
too.
very healing.
Yeah, and you guys, if you thought we were holding back at all in our episodes recently, now we're not.
No, we're not. We're not.
Everyone's like, we never said that.
Yeah, exactly.
You always assume the worst about us.
Exactly. We literally never say that.
This one's stressful.
Okay.
Because I don't like when a question puts you in a corner, you know? You're like one thing and one thing only. Like there's not enough options for little old me, you know? Okay, so that's why it's stressful.
I know which one it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
If I could only know one thing about you, what would be the most important thing? Stress, right? Instant. I'm like, I don't know.
Do you want to go first?
No, because I don't have a fucking answer.
You don't have one?
No, I can figure it out though.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there's a lot of things that we could say, obviously. So just like Tess said, this is not as simple as we'd like to make it. But I would say if it was one thing that I could like tell everyone or like showcase is that I am always doing my best at all times. And yeah.
Oh my God. Same. Okay. And the reason I'm going to piggyback on this one, and I'm just going to use this one as my own, may I?
Yeah.
A lot of times you do things and not everybody agrees with it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's tough for everybody to digest. But I'm fucking trying. I'm doing what I can do with what I have. And I know that's a very common saying is like everyone's just doing the best with what they have. But it's true. And like I think back to like some recent events and maybe some feelings people have about me. And I'm like, but it was coming from a good place. And like I'm trying really hard. And like that's all I can give you, you know? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times I stick my neck fucking far out there and I'm like, it's okay. Go ahead. And like, I'll bend over backwards just to make sure you like me. No, I can't do that anymore. You know, I'm trying my fucking best. Okay. So get off my back. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do really try our best.
Thank you for that one. Oh, thank you. I was getting nervous about this. Okay.
No, yeah.
What else you got? Anything? Are you going to go with that one?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that one. I feel like that one really just like, it cements it in for us. You know?
Thank God she's smart and thinks about things, you know, because I'm like, ooh, that's a good answer. I'll take it.
Okay, so where do you wish you had grown up? Do you think your childhood's natural landscape had a role in the person you are today?
The only thing I can say, well, I mean, I really am grateful for the place that we grew up. A little bit different, but like, you know, in general.
Yes.
I loved the people that I got to surround myself with. I love, this is the landscape one?
Yes.
Yeah. I love like how accessible hiking trails and going to the beach and the mountains and dirt bike riding and the lakes, like we have it all where we grew up, which is fucking tight. A lot of people can't say that, so we're very fortunate.
Yeah.
The only thing I can say, and we did spend a lot of time in this place, but like maybe I wish we had lived there full time, was like we spent so much time in Malibu growing up.
Yeah.
And it just is a place that feels like home to both of us, you and I. And even though I got to spend so much time there as a kid, like my mom always took us to the beach and grandparents lived in Calabasas and stuff, or like right on the edge of Calabasas. I just feel like, damn, wouldn't that have been great? But I spent so much time out there anyways that it's like I kind of did. I got the best of both worlds. I spent a lot of time out there and a lot of time here.
Yeah. And I always think like, would I have appreciated it if I actually lived there? And the answer is probably no. So I feel like I'm happy I didn't grow up.
But we appreciate this place.
Yeah, but I didn't when I was growing up here. Like when I was in high school, I was just like wanted to be elsewhere.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But now looking back, hell yeah, I love that I grew up here. And I love the mountains a lot. Right. And hiking and everything you said. I feel like when I heard this question or when I read it, I thought like when I was in high school, I really was sad that I grew up in this time period. Like I really wanted to have grown up like in the 70s. Like I felt like so attached to that. Yeah. So I think that is like, if I could like jump back in time and like somehow do that. Okay. I would have. Although I'm grateful for this time now and like
all this technology, you wouldn't be podcasting.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true. But I'm like, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Right. Life would look a hell of a lot different.
I know. But
you would have been groovy as hell in the 70s.
Know.
Yeah.
And just like so free, or at least I would think. And I also just think in high school and now I really love the music. And it was like a very like it made me feel a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know,
makes sense.
Because I feel like our childhood was very like, or not childhood maybe, but like teenage years were very just like stable for the most part, you know? Like there wasn't a lot. It was just like we live in like a smallish town. And so I wasn't like feeling strong feelings except for when I listened to like classic vinyl and I was like,
There's
what
more.
is this? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but I love where we grew up now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then in terms of it like having an impact on us, for sure, it shapes so many of our hobbies.
Yes.
Like what we do in our free time.
Like being outdoors is huge.
Yes, because we had the availability. Like it's pretty much, I mean, it's really cold today, but like it's pretty much.
But we'll totally go on a walk.
Yeah, it's consistent weather. So we got to be outside a lot, you know?
Yeah, I was talking to Tess the other day and I was like, wouldn't it be so awesome to have like a convertible house? Like I could just like push a button and the roof would just fucking like slide open.
That's why I want the doors.
Well,
You've
yeah,
all
that's
seen the glass
best.
doors that it's the wall, but it's a like an accordion door basically, and you push it all to one side and you're basically indoor outdoor living. Yeah, that's gonna happen.
It's sexy.
No, it's gonna happen.
Absolutely.
We're obsessed with being
when
outside.
we build the house we have together, the compound, that's a must.
And I love this apartment and I'm grateful for this apartment.
Yeah,
and
me
I know
too.
people are gonna be like, you can talk about your fucking lame, you know,
Yeah,
you're so privileged.
I don't care. That's what our
but like
what a
it's
goal
really
is.
hard to live in an apartment because we're not on the ground floor, and I'm like, I just want a backyard.
You're right.
That's
why we
privilege.
go for
I know.
walks.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Oh yes. Okay, we have 3 more.
Great. Hold on tight.
Yeah, we're doing good.
What do you want an answer to?
Okay, so we were laughing about this one because it's like, what don't we want an answer to?
Yeah, I'd love to know all of it.
Yeah.
But I also like the element of
I like
surprise.
mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
But,
whoa,
like-
didn't see that one coming. Look at us now.
Totally. Like, I don't want to know if there was like a question of like, do you want to know when you die? I don't want to know that. I don't want to know when my loved ones die. I just like want to experience that, you know?
Yeah.
But what do I want to know? I would love to know like who my husband's going to be.
Oh,
Or
wouldn't
like
that be
if
exciting?
I'm going to have a husband. I think I will. So I just say like, who is my husband going to be? Have I met him yet?
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, when is Cowboys going to be like what we want it to be?
Yeah.
There's a lot. I keep going. I could literally rattle off a whole list. Like, am I going the right direction? Are the things I'm doing today propelling me into the future I want?
Stop.
Literally, I like journal this shit all the time. I'm like, I have a lot of questions. And I just
And
like
then she's
wait
sitting there
for
and
like
she's
an
like,
answer.
why am I overwhelmed? And I'm like, because you're journaling.
No, I fucking know why I'm overwhelmed.
You're fucking shaking your own ground over here.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to take that as the answer. I don't need to answer that one. That was enough for all involved, you know?
Yeah. Okay, what do you crave in a psychological sense? Intimacy, passion, purpose, belonging, social interaction, etc.
What don't I crave?
I know.
You know? I think that I have a healthy and realistic but very high standard of the people I want in my life and who I want to share my time with. And it involves like all of the above. Like, I want to feel comfortable with you. I want to have deep connections with you. I want to be able to like talk about shit like this, but also like laugh at stupid, very shallow, very meaningless things, you know? Like I want to see a big word for me these days is effort. Like I think effort is so sexy. And I think the word effortless is great when you're talking about like someone just has like effortless style and like effortless this. But I like when you take care of yourself, and I like when you show up and you show some drive and some motivation. So I think like my biggest word right now is going to be effort.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's a good one.
Like show up.
Yeah.
You know?
Damn right.
Put a little work in.
Yeah.
I love to see a little hustle.
Yeah. Even if you put a lot of work in, that's fucking great.
Let's go.
Love it.
That's what I'm saying. Little work is just my nice way of wording
That's
it.
right. Yeah.
I'm like, literally do all of it. Come on.
Yeah. Blow me away. Okay. That's a good one. I would say there are a lot that I think about, but I think one that I search for a lot is contentment. I feel like that's a big one for me. And in like all senses of the word, you know, like relationships within myself, honestly, mostly that's like number one. Because I think that not once I find it, but when I have that like there's a lot of greatness that like spawns off of that.
Yeah. It like snowballs, right? Because if you feel content, then you're like, okay, now what? You know, and like from a good place.
Right.
Not like, okay,
versus like I'm like desperation or like I'm striving
you're
too
like,
hard,
how can we build
out.
on this?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great question. I think about that in both senses. Like, what do you crave in a psychological sense, like for your own being, but also like, what do you crave out of other people?
Yeah, other people. And then like also the situations you put yourself in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Is there a song, book, movie, or other piece of media that has drastically altered your life? What was it, and are there multiple?
Okay.
Go ahead, Madison. Take it away.
Okay, so
that was embarrassing.
No, it wasn't.
Do so many fucking voices and faces, and I'm
no,
like,
I like it. It's cute. I would say that in high school, I really glorified the movie Eat, Pray, Love, which is really a kind of lame answer because it's like a very cheesy movie. But to me in high school, that was like it. Like I was Julia
the meaning
Roberts.
behind it is deeper.
Yeah, well, I was her in that movie. Like I felt that the crisis that she was having in her 40s, like I am still living it, and I was living it as a 14-year-old, you know, like 14 to 18 or 14 to 28 now. But yeah, I just like heavily relate to that movie. And I think that it's very inspirational. And just like I was telling Tess before this, that I am always, not always, but I look for like a sense of like belonging and like purpose in general. And I have this idea in my head that sometimes I need to like make a drastic move like she does in the movie. Like she goes to Italy, India, and then Bali, and then she like her life is like figured out and everything's fucking great. But I have like this idea in my head that I need to do like something drastic in order for me to feel that way, which I'm like trying to get over that because I have like figured out that that is also untrue. And like, yes, I can do drastic things to make myself feel like purposeful and like I belong and be content, but I can also do little things to make me feel that way too.
Yeah. And then on the flip side of that, something that maybe we've all heard before is like, you are everywhere you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, you could go and make a drastic change, and it can help, and it can show you a different way of life and make you feel more content, or whatever the case may be, whatever you're searching for, right? But at the end of the day, you are always with yourself. And so those external things can only do so much. And it really does kind of fall back into your lap of like, yeah, you can change your circumstances. And that does that is huge. Like, I'm not trying to downplay it, but there is like so much to be found of I can be happy in my skin no matter where I am or who I'm with. But that's fucking double-sided, because that's not always the case. Like sometimes you really do need to change your environment to feel like a different person.
Right. And I think that is like finding herself. She tried to find herself, which she knew was like within her the whole movie, you know? And I think I just like really love that. And everything like came from her like renewing her love for like food and herself and her body and like spirituality. And I was just like, dude, I fucking like pinnacle.
So guess what we're doing later?
Yeah, exactly.
We're not booking a trip. We're watching Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, we are.
I can hardly say that.
Eat, Pray, Love?
Yeah, I was like, Eat, Pray, Love. So anyways, we're going to go watch Eat, Pray, Love. We're going to go on a walk. We're going to have some healthy dinner. Fuck, I might even make some chicken nuggets.
Dude, it's going to be a great rest
of
the
day. That sounds downplayed. Excited. We make homemade chicken tenders once a week. It's like our little date night.
It's like with almond flour and a bunch of other spices.
It's so good.
And homemade sweet potato fries. It's literally like, oh.
And I shit on the air fryer for a long time. Good. And guess who uses it all the time?
We have one. Yeah.
And that's where we make the chicken tendies. Although you could do it in the oven. I can drop you the recipe if you'd like.
It's so great.
Everyone's like, I can Google it.
Yeah, you can.
You should.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, your turn.
Oh, I have to answer that?
Yeah.
I was trying to deflect.
Yeah, exactly. See ya.
Have a great week.
Yeah. Nothing inspired me.
Okay, something that I can say. I didn't have like a one and done type situation, and nothing that I can think of in this moment from my past. It's more so stuff that is inspiring me and influencing me right now. two things, two forms of media. One is a podcast. I've been super into Call Her Daddy, which if you've been listening to any of the recent episodes, I think I've mentioned it a couple times. Like, I don't know. I'm vibing with Alex Cooper. I think that she's like a no shit kind of gal. I just like her honesty. I like how she shows up and is herself. Like, that's fucking amazing. And that helps kind of lead me to kind of do the same in my own way on our show.
Yes. Great.
It's weird to call it a show because it's like, that's not what this feels like. This doesn't feel like a show. This feels like us hanging out, you know?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Which is great.
Yeah. And then the other one, and this might surprise you, but we've also talked about this, is the documentary Stutz.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That, I cried. I was like, God, I got to go to therapy. The connection that you can create with people and how that can change your life, bringing it back to the human connection thing, that inspires me beyond belief. Like how much Stutz has helped Jonah, and Jonah has like kind of reopened things up for him. It's just, that relationship is beautiful and it inspires me.
So cute.
You know, that shit is so inspiring, that deep connection. So I would say that those are two forms of media right now that are influential in my world in some way.
Yeah.
But I don't have like a past thing that like paved the path for me.
Oh yeah, that's okay.
That's how I answer it.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm not going to get mad at that.
Perfect. No, definitely not. Yeah, that was great. I have nothing more to say besides that I'm like fucking freezing and I am, I'm ready.
I wonder why, because your shirt is like tissue paper.
Is, like,
it's sexy
really
as can
sheer.
be. I want to own it, but it's like the thinnest shirt of all time.
And the leather couch is just like cold. And I think it's like 65 degrees in here.
That might even be an exaggeration. It might be lower.
64.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, thank you so much for listening. That was awesome. I feel like that was exactly what we needed to talk about today.
I love it. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Great. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already liked and rated the podcast, I say this every time. We should have said this at the beginning.
Yeah, we should have, but we didn't. We'll get better. And
yeah.
Also, just to say, like, high five to us that we fucking...
Look at her high-fiving me. She used to get embarrassed of this. I'm going to hold on for another moment. Go ahead.
Just so we, like, literally throw out our backs every time we have to lift this fucking couch and put it against the opposite wall that we usually have it on. Damn. We were laughing hard as fuck when we were trying to move
because I would
this.
pick it up. Okay, guys, it's an L-shaped couch. It has like a attachment between the two pieces, and we push it together to like try to stop it from breaking that hinge off, and we lift at the same time, and that shit is so heavy. I'm holding it, and I was like, oh shit, that was like straight from my low back, and it made Madison laugh.
And you can't fucking pick shit up when you're laughing if it's heavy, you know?
So we tried like 4 solid times, and every time it got worse. My back, she was like, my back's burning. I'm like, yeah, mine too. We don't need to do this anymore.
It's not right.
If you have any solutions for us, it has a few legs. There's maybe 3 too many legs.
That's why, but we try to do it the quick way. It just like fucks up our
shortcuts.
body.
Everybody, don't take them unless they're actually gonna save you.
Right.
You know,
it's a trade-off for shortcuts. You know.
All right, everybody.
Until next week.
Talk soon.
Talk soon.